brief intro of my company, what we are, who we are, and what we do. So let me just share my screen. Okay, and okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
I think it is. Yes. Okay. So first of all, let me give my introduction. I am Kulsumiram, one of the solution consultant over here for BIM at Arkans, India. And we are in Gurgaon. We are based out of Gurgaon. We have a lot of subsidiaries as well all over the India. And on not India, we are worldwide globally present in America, Europe, and India and Australia region. We have a technical support team which is very strong in a lot of softwares, which is either it is related to Autodesk, either it is related to Bentley, either it is related to Adobe. So we have expertise in all the regions. After that, we'll be seeing that what industry which we focus on. So we majorly focus on AEC industry, but that is not only the industry which we focus on. We also focus on manufacturing, educations. We provide a lot of educations on BIM. What are the new upgrades of BIM? We run training courses for BIM as well. Then we are also into media and entertainment. Subsidiary is also involved in media and entertainment. Then we are also involved in sales and post-sales, pre-sales related things for government as well as consulting services. If you want to have some consulting services, we are going to be helpful for in that case also. And after that, we are also involved in graphic arts and computing, as well as we are also available for hardware sales and services, right? So these are some industry focus which we focus on as an Arcans India. And after that, now I'm just going to introduce Kirtana to have a brief intro of the design advanced competition. Yes,
Yeah,
Kirtana.
thank you, Kulsum. Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Can you please allow me to share?
Yes, please share. I think
I think it is disabled from your side. Host has disabled.
just a moment, let me just check.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please do it now?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Kirtana, it is.
So, hi everyone, this is Kirtana from Ethos Empowers, and I would like to take you through the Design Advanced 2025 brief. So, the theme for this year is Beyond the Game Adaptive Arenas for Tomorrow. Yeah, so the table of contents that we are going to see in this particular section is theme, the task, guidelines and participations, and a few FAQs. So theme, as we already discussed, beyond the game adaptive arenas for tomorrow. So what are we focusing on this particular theme is the future of public architecture and multipurpose arenas that embrace the concept of flexible and reversible architecture. So the structures that can seamlessly transform, relocate, or disappear based on the evolving needs is what we are focusing on. So the fixed and single-use venues are quite outdated for the time being, and they are considered to be wasteful and rarely used to their full potential. So the participants are challenged to design versatile, multi-purpose arenas that can adapt, transform, relocate, or disassembled in response to the changing needs. So what is the need for adaptive arenas? So back in times, if you see examples like Athens and Colosseums, they were built largely to gather people across different cultures, and its purpose remained quite singular despite its grand scale. So over the time, due to increase in population and demand for mass entertainment spaces, cities also densified, and we could no more afford to have single-use venues. So that's where the need for adaptable arenas came in. So in the recent examples, if you see the DY Patil Stadium, which is primarily a cricket stadium, but it was reused. It was used to host the Coldplay concert in the recent times, if you see. So, so we are already seeing such examples in India and also globally. So let's get into the task. So the actual challenge to design space that are not just multifunctional, but are also sustainable, accessible, and future-proof. So the participants are invited to design spaces that can transform, relocate, or disassemble as needed. So these flexible venues should serve both large-scale and small-scale gathering with ease. So there are certain competition guidelines for the site and program. So the proposed site should be preferably be set in a urban setting where culture, sports, and entertainment meet. Participants may choose any city in India or abroad. So the site should span at least 10 to 15 acres to accommodate around 40,000 spectators. So we should also think about the cultural and climate of that particular site that you're choosing. The local bylaws need to be followed, and NPC code needs to be followed in the absence of local bylaws. So also designing the outdoor spaces as flexible extensions is recommended so that the venue is active even beyond the major events. There are certain design considerations that are to be taken care of. So adaptability and multifunctionality, scalable seating and crowd management, universal accessibility and user experience, sustainability and climate responsiveness, ephemeral, reversible and circular design, cultural sensitivity and architectural identity, smart infrastructure and digital integration as well. So there are certain cash prizes for the top 3 winners, as you can see, and the top 10 entries to be published on the competition website. The top 3 winners get free entry to Archons in BIM for design program worth rupees 80,000. All participants get an e-certificate for participation and recognition for the institutes that adopt the brief as studio project. So the participation details include, there are certain important dates that are to be taken care of. That is, registration closes by 16th of October, submission closes by 29th of October. So all the UG and PG students, as well as young professionals from the fields of architecture, planning, civil engineering, and design can participate globally. And recent graduates and young professionals, if they have graduated in the year 2023, are also eligible. PG students, including 2025 graduates, are eligible only if they have no more than 3 years of experience following their undergraduate degree. A maximum of 3 members per team can be made, and interdisciplinary and inter-college teams are allowed. So let's look into certain frequently asked questions. So is there any registration fee for this competition and workshops? There is no registration fee at all, it's free. Like how we already discussed, if it is eligible for postgraduate students, yes, it is UG and PG students can from architecture, design, civil engineering, and other related fields can take part in this. And you can also build inter-college teams and inter-batch teams within yourselves, but the maximum team limit is 3. In the absence of local bylaws, which standard should be used? So NBC is followed in case locally applicable bylaws are not there. So can we choose a site of our own? Yes, in any tier 1 or tier 2 city of area 5 to 12 acres, you can choose. Can we define our area program? Yes, you can choose the functions and distribution of space allotted as per your site requirements. So here is the scan code, QR code for the competition website. You can scan this code to register for the competition as well.
Thank you, Kirtana, for the brief of competition. Now let me just share my screen, and I would like to call Atif so that he'll be giving the brief of what case studies we'll be seeing in today's webinar. Atif, so
Yeah,
is my
I'm
screen
here.
is yes. Okay.
So, very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Atif. Currently, I'm one of the BIM managers in 5D. Currently, let's skip all that. So let's today we'll be discussing about the architectural design or the facade design stories of these two iconic stadiums. One is the Baku Olympic Stadium in Azerbaijan, the Singapore National Stadium, and the Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Each of these project site is a completely different climate, culture, text, or urban setting, and that's exactly what makes the facade stories strategies so fascinating to compare. So let's begin with the Baku Olympic Stadium. The Baku Olympic Stadium, the facade is all about lightness and spectacle. The stadium is wrapped in a continuous skin of ETFE cushions arranged in a facet diamond pattern that flows seamlessly from the vertical facades right up over the roof. Now, ATFE isn't just an aesthetic choice, it's a material that's incredibly lightweight compared to glass, which reduces the tonnage of structural steel required. It's also translucent, so it allows daylight to penetrate the interior spaces while providing weather protection. Perhaps the most sorry, perhaps the most exciting element is what happens after sunset. The entire skin is embedded with a full scale LED lighting system capable of transforming the building into a luminous animate surface. It can wash the stadium in national color, display moving pattern of ceremonies. The essential turn the building into a dynamic media facade. The design is also culturally rooted. Baku is also known as for the land of fire, and the facade's ability to glow and skimmer directly connects to that identity when the stadium lights up at night. It's not just a sport venue; it's a beacon across the city's skyline. Can you just turn over to the next? So here you can see that the whole facade is actually made of ETFP skins. So it's very lightweight. The overall structure is at minimum what only requires. Please turn on the next page. And now let's move to Singapore National Stadium. The As we are shifting to next environment is actually completely different new environment. The equilateral tropics of Singapore. Here, the facade design moves away from the idea of a sealed air conditioner shell. Instead, it's open, breathable, and climate responsive. The perimeter is lined with vertical louver screen that shade the concourse and help channel breezes through the structure. This purposity allows the stadium to stay comfortable without relying solely on mechanical cooling. The open facade also means specters are always virtually connected to the city, the weather on the waterfront, and even the sky beyond the roofline. Next page. The stadium enormous dome, the stadium's enormous dome, one of the largest of its kind, act as both shelter and environmental control. It incorporates fixed and movable roof panels that manage solar exposure and rainfall while keeping the pitch and the stand usable year round. And here's the clever part: instead of cooling the whole volume of the stadium, which would be hugely insufficient, Singapore National Stadium uses a targeted seat level cooling system that's a direct result of the open facade approach, which makes the building as much about flow as shade as about enclosure. Moving on to the last stadium. So we move to Dublin. Here's the design brief phase a completely different challenge. How to fit a large scale stadium into a tight, low rise residential neighborhood without overwhelming it. So the solution was a tiered covered form that literally steps down in height on the side facing nearby homes. This wave-like silhouette is one of the stadium's defining features. The facade itself used translucent polycarbonate louvers combined with glass panels. This gives the structure a skimmering, almost delicate quality, as if it is lighter than it really is. During the day, daylight filters through, illuminating the concourse, the pitch. At night, the skin softly glows from within, turning the stadium into a gentle lantern in the cityscape. Can we move on to next slide? Yeah, one more. Technically achieving the sorry, one more. Yeah, technically achieving that flowing form wasn't simple. Each polycarbonate panel had to be cut and profiled to match the stadium's unique curvature, ensuring smooth transition across its surface. The louvers also helps break down the visual scale of the building, making it less monolithic up close. So overall, this is like we have discussed all the three projects. So what these three projects show us is that the stadium facade isn't just a wrapper; it's an environmental filter, a cultural symbol, and a piece of urban theater. From Baku's illuminating ETFE to Singapore's breathable louvers to Dublin's translucent wave, each design responds to its own climate, context, or identity. So let me hand over to Kulsum. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for that. And if someone has any doubt, please drop your questions over into the Q&A section, and we'll be taking it after at the end. Okay. So afterwards, now we'll be talking about the pattern you have seen over here, that we are using ETFE panels a lot in each and every case study you have seen. We are using that, and the structure that you see over here, these are created using adaptive facade. Now, when we are talking about adaptive facade and we are talking about some flexible also, so we want to create it into Revit, that how we can do it in over there. So with using adaptive family, we are going to do these kind of structure creation. And when we talk about these kind of structures creation, firstly, let's just talk about that what actual adaptive family or adaptive things are over here. Okay, just a moment. Now, what is adaptive family? Because with the help of only adaptive family, you will get an idea that how to create whatever type of facade you are creating, either if you are defining the shape or if you are not defining the shape. Firstly, you need to create that using a conceptual massing. In Revit, we have a tool by the name of conceptual massing. Either you can create that conceptual massing onto the project, or you can use a template which is independently for conceptual massing. In that, we can provide adaptive families. Now, when we talk about again and again adaptive families, so what are adaptive families? Basically, these are component. In Revit, every family that we are going to create, we call them as component also. And these are as flexible and unique as you create your context. Whatever the context you are creating, you are not aware of the size of your each and every panel, because you are creating a facade. Might be possible the facade is going to be visible half, might be possible there be a change that your facade is going to be visibly full, and you want your pattern like that it is going to be covered all the surface, all the curtain, using that particular panel that you are creating. That is why we are going for adaptive. For example, any particular repeating system, you have a repeating system in Baku Olympic Stadium. You also have seen that there's a diamond shaped what we can say, a diamond shaped repeating pattern. So what they have done, they have used that diamond shaped pattern and they have placed a family over there again and again, and according to that family it repeats. So that is why, that is how we can arrange, or we can usually create a repeating pattern over there using array. We can multiply the pattern, how this pattern is going to be created, right? And we can also modify some points. Let's just suppose at one particular location your panel is not fixing properly, it is just not getting there. You can also delete one panel out of it and you can just reinstall that particular panel. So we have that flexibility also while we are creating adaptive farm. Right. Now let me just show you how we create adaptive family. So once we create, we'll be creating adaptive family, how it works. Firstly, we provide the insertion point, that what are the insertion point. You need to decide it beforehand, before creating the family, that how your curtain panel or how your facade is going to have the points. It can be five based point, it can be a rhomboid, it can be a rectangular, it can be a triangular as well, as ever you want it, right? And after defining the particular points, then you will be defining the relation between geometries to points, and after defining the geometries, then you can install that into your facade. and how, like I'm saying these all in theory. Now I'll just want to showcase you how we are going to do that. Okay, let me just share my Revit screen and I'll be showcasing you two particular, just a moment. Okay, I think this one, yes. Okay, this is a conceptual mask, right? And this is a template for conceptual mask. If you want to open this particular template, you can just go on to files, go on to new, then you have families, and under families you will be having an option to open conceptual mask. And this is the template of conceptual mask. Currently I am working in metric, but if you want to choose an imperial also, you can choose imperial as well. So it is in both imperial as well as in metric. You can just simply select on it and it will open. After that, the next part, which is going to be most important, is that you firstly create the framework. Framework as in you are going to fix that how your pattern is going to be look before pattern, how your facade is going to be looking. You will create the grid lines for defining the facade, defining the layout. After defining that, if I show you in 3D, I have created these reference plane. These all are my reference planes, right? And using these reference plane, I have divided that this is the outer shell and this is the inner shell. I am defining it like that, right? And after, if I show you a section over here, I have created one section, and in this section what I have done, let me just go on to the section. I have created a profile. These are created using only model line. So you have model lines. If you want to create model line, you can select model line. Then you need to select on what reference plane you want to work on, right? We have in Revit a lot of reference planes, and when you want to work on any particular conceptual massing, you need to set first your reference plane. Once you have set your reference plane, then you can create these kind of model lines, right? So you can see over here in this section, I have defined that how my facade is going to look like. Then I have also defined that how your seating is going to look like, as well as my roof. So I have created these three components over here at once. Now I'll show you in 3D how it works. So if I go into 3D, you can see all my grid lines are over here. I have outer shell as well as inner shell, and then I have my staircase. Then I have a facade over here as well as roof. So if I'm selecting just one line and then I select with control key the facade over here and select create form. Just a moment, it is not creating. Let me just do it again. Just a moment. And I'll just create this form. Okay, let me just delete this one. I think this is creating some kind of. Now if I again go for create form, it will create a form and you can see that it has created a form. And once you create the form, you have two options how you want your form. You want it like this or you want other method. So you can select how you want your form to be created. Now again, if I select using tab key of mine, and you have to select all the lines over here because these are all closed loop. So once you go into creating mask, you cannot select the closed loop, otherwise your form is not going to be created very precisely. Instead of that, you need to select each and every segment one by one. Then you need to select the line over here, the form that you have created, then select on create form. Likewise, this slowly it will create a form, and I'll just show you in short that how it will attain the form. And you can see again, you can select either flat or either you can select a curved roof, and as I'm selecting, it is creating. Similarly, you need to create this particular staircase which I am having right now in 3D. Again, I'll be selecting one particular segment, and once I select my segment, now I can create the staircase as well. And you can see your staircase has also been created. You need to define the sizes first. You need to design the grid, how you want your grid. Then only you can design this particular shell which I'm showcasing right now. And once you have created this particular shell as well as the roof as well as this staircase, then you can move on to the next part. And what next part is, for that I'll be showcasing you another Revit file of mine in which I have already created this particular shell, outer as well as inner. Now I'll show you in 3D that how this looks like. Okay, let me just close this one. And if I go on to 3D, now you can see this is my facade that I have created, right? And I have used the same method. I have created the profile first. I have created or laid some grids first. After that, I have created these facade. And you can see all these surfaces has been created as well as my roof has also been created. And I can also create a staircases over here, but I haven't really created, but you can create it. You can got the gist that how to create it, right? After that, now I'll go and select one of my surface. Once you select your surface after massing, you will get an option to create or to divide your surface. And for dividing your surface, you just need to select divide surface. Then once you divide your surface, it will showcase you as no pattern. Instead of no pattern, you can select what type of pattern you want. You want a hexagonal pattern. Like I said, in Baku also they have decided that they need a rectangular diamond, or sorry, diamond shaped pattern. That is why they were choosing that. And you can choose that you want a rectangular, you can choose rectangular. If you want a rhomboid kind of a pattern, you can choose a rhomboid kind of pattern, and likewise you can choose these patterns. Once you have chosen these patterns, then you have properties panel over here. In the properties panel, you can decide what type of layout you want to prefer with. Like you can see currently my layout is set to be fixed number, but we have a lot of options. You have fixed distance, you have minimum spacing, you have maximum spacing, and whatsoever the spacing you want or whatsoever number of you want, you can decide them. So I'll go with maximum spacing, then I'll select 15. Okay, 15 over here means I'm saying 15 meter because I have already set it my units in meter. That is why it is showcasing like that. Now, once I change my this particular distance, you can see that all the grids of mine has been changed. And at any point you want to see what are your grids. So if I search on this surface option, your grids are also going to be visible and you can see. And if you want to see your grids into any elevation, you can go either onto north or either onto south, whichever so your particular elevation is from, and you can see your grids over here. Again, you want to see what type of rotation they want. You want to rotate your grid, so that is again is also possible. You can just simply select the surface, then you have rotation over here, that what type of rotation you want for your grid, and it will rotate for you, right? If you want all your grids to be rotated, you can simply select all grid rotation and it is going to be like that, and you can see it over here that your grid has been rotated. Similarly, I'll change this distance also. Let me change it to be 3 meter. And you can see this is how my facade now looks like. I have a rhomboid kind of shape, or you can say diamond kind of a shape, but it is now like this. Similarly, you can do it for each and every facade, every surface of yours, but it is looking quite small to me. So I'm just again going to make it change. You can change it according to your need again. Let me make it to be 10. 10 meter each. Similarly, I'll select this one and again I'll select divide surface. Then I'll be selecting for what type of pattern I want. And again, you'll be selecting your different choice of pattern, what type of pattern you want, and it is going to be attained over here, right? So that is how we create or we divide surface. After dividing surface, then we move to the next part, which is called as creating the family or creating the panel which we want to fix it over here, because these all are the surface. These are not patterns that which we want. For that, again, I need to go into another type of template, which is for family creation. Currently, we are in conceptual massing, but we want to create family creation. For that, I'll go on to files. I'm just going to showcase you what type of templates we have for that. And I'll just select on open, then I'll select on family. In family, for adaptive family, we have only three templates. On these three templates are curtain panel based, generic model adaptive, and model generic adaptive pattern based. So these are three patterns. Once you are working with any pattern, you can choose these two. And what is the difference between these two is basically generic means common, that you can set the category afterwards, because once you work in Revit, you get an idea that everything in Revit is set into a category if you want. Sorry. Sorry for that. If you want to create any particular window, you'll be selecting a template for window. If you want to create something into door, you'll be selecting a template for door. Similarly, everything in Revit is divided into different categories. Once you decide the category, you can select the original template. But let's just suppose you are not aware that under which category it comes from. In that scenario, you can choose generic. Generic means common, and you can set your category afterwards. So for now, I'll be selecting generic and I'll showcase you the generic one template. And once I open generic one, then you can see these are adaptive points. The points you see with the reference line, these are called adaptive points. These are the main point which is going to be responsible for creating or for adapting according to my surface. Whatever surface I want, these are the points which is going to be responsible. Then comes is the pattern. so whatever the pattern you have chosen for your surface. So if I again go into 3D and let me just see what pattern we have chosen. So we have chosen a rhomboid pattern. And again, to create this particular rhomboid pattern into family, firstly I need to select that which pattern is over here. We have different patterns according to the surface you have chosen. If you have chosen a surface for rectangular and you have set it all the parameters according to that, you can choose rectangular. If you have chosen it to be rhomboid, you can choose rhomboid. If you have chosen a hexagon, octagon, so you have other options that you can choose from, right? And for now, I'll be choosing rhomboid because we have already set our surface to be a rhomboid surface, right? And like I said, if it is a generic pattern, means it is going to be a family of curtain pattern. Or you can just simply go into family category and you can decide under which category this particular pattern comes under, right? So you can decide it afterwards as well. That is the only difference between generic and curtain panel based, right? And after that, you can see these are all reference line which is already created. If you are opening any particular pattern base, the reference line as well as adaptive point is already created for you by default. You can just use them. You have to just select what pattern you want and you can simply use it. After that, I'll select a point from which I want to create the frame, because let me just show you the example, the case studies. Just a moment. Okay, I'm just going to showcase you a particular panel. Okay. Okay, let me just share my other screen for PPT. And over here, you can see this particular panel, it also consists of 4 particular points, right? These are points. And under these points, we have some certain kind of panel. Then we have some certain kind of frame. So it is consist of 2 particular components. So we'll be creating these 2 components in Revit also. And how do we create it? So again, I'll be showcasing my Revit screen. For that, firstly, I'll fix my point on top of any particular reference line, or either you can use these adaptive point as well. Then I'll be defining that how the frame looks like. How will my frame look like? For that, I'll be selecting these model lines. I'll select circle. Then I'll be selecting that which particular reference plane I'll be working on. So this is the reference plane on which I want to work on. And after that, I can create my circle. You can decide what is going to be the radius of your circle according to your particular design. Currently it is showcasing me as 3000, but let me just make it to be 150 or 75. Okay, 150 is fine for me. Then again, you select the particular circular form, a profile. Then again, use control key on your keyboard, select all the reference line. It is going to be selected at once and use create form. Once you create form, your particular frame has been created. And after that, now we want to create a cushion type of form, right? For that, I'll just select it again. I'll hide it for temporary. I'll just hide it for temperament. And after that, now we want to create that particular frame. For that, I'll be putting some points, and these points are going to be responsible that how we want our particular cushion to be created. So let me just put some points. So I'll use point element to be put it over here. Okay, let me just go on to floor level 1. Okay, let me again put my points. So I'll put one point over here, another point over here. I'll select this particular point and let me just again go back onto 3D to see where this point lies. So this point lies over here, right? This is the point it is lying. So, and again, I'll be selecting these 3 points at once. After that, I'll use spline to define that what is going to be the height of this point of mine. You can also define the height using normalized curve parameter. If you want to use it, you can again use it and you can set it your height. After that, I'll do the same thing for this particular adaptive point and I'll use spline. Similarly, you can just select these 2 lines and create a form out of it. Like this, you can create the panel form and you can decide what this is particularly a point. You can decide that what is going to be the height, or you can see the surface of your form. You can create it according to your need. After that, I'll just go for HR. HR is the shortcut to make any temporary height to be unhidden. And now you can see we have created the panel. We have also created the frame. And now we just want to put the material. For putting the material, so we have 2 options. Either you can decide your material from here, or we have another option that is called as that you can also associate with the different material, right? For different material, if I go on to these options, this is called associating parameter. In Revit, you have the option, you have the flexibility that you can associate one parameter to another parameter, and once you load that particular component from one family to another, basically you are going to nest one family into another family, then this parameter is going to be visible for you. That is going to be a case over here which we are going to do, right? And to associate that with the family parameter, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a parameter. So I'll select create new parameter, and once I create new parameter, I need to put the name, that what is going to be the name of this parameter. So this particular name is going to be frame material. So let me just put frame material and okay. Like you can see that we have put it over here, frame material. After that, I'll select okay. Now similarly, I'll be going for the panel as well. For panel, again, I'll be going for same option, which is called as associate with parameter. I'll select again a parameter, then I'll be naming this particular panel, that what is going to be the name of the material. And okay, so we have created these two. Now we can just simply load it into our family, and I'm not going to load this, I was just going to showcase you how this works. I'll be loading this one, just a moment. Let me open that particular family of mine. So you can see I have also created this one. In this particular family, what the difference I have did is I have also created one midline. Midline is going to be responsible for to set the curvature of your panel, because if you want a good curvature, you want it to be more visible than that, you can create it a mid curvature also. That is how I have created. Now I can just simply save this family into my system and I load it into my project. So just let me save this one. Okay, let me just save over here only. Adaptive. Okay, I think I have misspelled, but let me just go with this. After this, I'll just save this one and I'll load it into my family of stadium. That family too is what I have showcased you. Stadium is my main family and I'm nesting it over here. So if I again go into 3D, there, just a moment, I'll show it into 3D for this one. If I go into 3D and I select on CM, CM is the shortcut for your component. Any component that you want, you can just simply select on the CM. But once I go on to CM, you can see that we have created this particular facade, right? And we can place it anywhere like this. You can see this particular facade which is visible to you, right? That is how you can place, but that is only one option we can do it. If I change my particular rhomboid surface into any rectangular surface, under rectangular I'll be also having the option, the parameter, the family you have created will come underneath it. So I'll select adaptive family shell. This was the one which I have saved, and you can see that it has been created like this. Okay, it is showcasing some problem over here, just a moment. Okay, let me just rotate it to be 0 degree. I think because of rotation it is showcasing like that. Let me just rotate it, and I'll change the sizes as well as the distances. So might be possible for distances it is going like that. Now you can see that it has been placed like this, right? And again it is causing some problem. Let me just try with that one which we have just created. Just a moment. Let me open that one also. Okay, now we have created this one. I'll save this one as well. And again, I'll be loading it into my particular stadium family. And after that, I'll again go and select this particular 3D surface of mine. And I'll go into 3D first. Let me just open that particular 3D and I'll select the surface. And after that, I'll select adaptive family shell 2, which we have just saved. And in this particular case, I think it is fixed properly fine. And you can see it has been properly fine. In that particular family, I think there was some thing that it hasn't been set properly. Okay, what was it? Okay, sorry for that, guys. And you can see that it has been set it properly. Again, at any certain point you want to change any particular pattern of yours, you can simply select that particular rhomboid and you can delete it as well. And once you delete it, you can see it has been deleted. I can again reset that where we want it to be placed. But for placing, you need to open your nodes, and nodes can be opened from the surface representation. We have surface, and under that surface we have option to nodes. So I can just simply select it over here. Let me just select it, and then I can just simply select that this particular surface of mine. Now I'll go with open surface first. Then you can select the surface and you can open your nodes. Once you open your nodes, you can see each and every nodes and surface is going to be visible, and you can set your particular family very easily like this. So you can set your families like that also. You can see that I have set it one particular family as well. Now you just need to repeat that particular process according to each and every facade of yours. So you just need to select your family, select your surface, divide your surface, and after dividing, let me just select this one. I'll divide the surface, and after that I'll select it to be again rhomboid. Either rhomboid or either the family which we have created. Let me just select that one, adaptive family shell 2, and once I set that particular family, you can see that it has been setted, right? And how easily it has been setted. At any point, again, if you want to delete a particular panel from here, or if you want to install that particular panel, you can do it very easily. And I'll be showcasing you for this particular surface one by one. Let me just select all these one, just a moment. And again, I'll just first divide the surface. After dividing the surface, you can define that which type of family you want it over here. So like that, you can just simply select it. Let me just do it for this one as well. Okay. And you can see that we have created this one. And like I said, at any point, if it is not, your panel is not properly fixing, you can just simply select one using tab key on your keyboard. Again, if I select this one, I can simply select it to be using tab key, and I can fix one particular panel over here. Instead of two panels, I can select one individual panel as well. So you can select this like that. Let me just select these points, and again you can see that how easily I have created one particular panel. These were two half panels. Instead of that, what I did, I have created it into a one singular panel. So you can do that also. Then we have a lot of options also. So let me just show you these some options. So let me just divide the surface again. After division, so you can see we have options as in justification. Justification is basically from where your pattern is going to be started. If you want your pattern to be started from the beginning, if you want your pattern to be started at the end, or if you want your pattern to be started from the center, so you have the option that you can set your justifications according to your need. Similarly, you have grid rotation. Grid rotation is basically U as well as V grid. And for grid, we also have one option that if you want certainly one grid, let's just suppose you don't want V grid, you just want to see only the U grid, you can also set that particular grid as well. You can see I have set it only V grid. I have just switched, U grid. I have switched off the V grid of mine. So like that also you can do some changes. You can set these according to your need, that how you want it over here, right? After that, if I set these rotation, so this particular rotation, we have rotation in two options. All grid rotation, if you rotate all the grid, then U as well as V grid is going to be rotated. If you want specifically one grid to be rotated, you can set the angle, that what is going to be the rotation angle for you. After setting your angle, it will rotate for you. So like this kind of patterns that can also be created using this, right? And you can create these kind of patterns as well. Similar goes for your offset. If you want some certain kind of offset, you can also create some certain kind of offset as well. But for now, I'll be just switching on my V grid as well. So you can select your V grid. But at any point you want to switch off your component, then we have these options. If you want to switch off your component, you can simply select your component is going to be off. If you want your surface to be visible, your surface is going to be visible. If you want your pattern to be visible, then your pattern is going to be visible. So you have the surface representation. How you want your surface to be represented, you can set it accordingly, right? So for that, after this, now I'll just select all these surfaces of mine at once, and I'll just divide all the surfaces into one particular category. Okay, it is not working fine with that. Okay, like this, you can do it very easily, right? So this is how we create any adaptive family. This is how we put the adaptive family onto any surface, and we can also create the surfaces, the external facade, using massing very easily as well, right? Now we'll have some question answers. If you have anything you want to ask, you can drop it down. Let me just see. We have some 10 questions. Okay. One said, okay. Another one, I am 15-year-old aspiring arc. Question is, if I want to aim to top architecture school like MIT, what experience project I can do to stand out more? Okay, Ritvik, this is not regarding to the webinar. If you want to have that kind of conversation, you can connect with Archons. They'll guide you that how you can do that if you want to aim into MIT or somewhere else, right? Can we get recording of the session? Yes, the session recording is going to be on the website of Design Advanced, which Kirtana was showing to you. So you can just simply go onto the website 2025 and you'll be having the recording for this session. Okay, where can I get the recording? My net was slow during the webinar. Like I said, it is going to be on the website of Design Advanced 2025. Once you go onto the website, on the, I think, bottom down panel, you'll be finding this particular webinar recording. For every webinar we'll be holding out, you can find the recording over there, right? At the edge, the panels are not joined. How to fix that? Okay, let me just see at where you are saying. And at any point, like I said, if at edge it is not fixing properly, again you can use tab key on your keyboard to delete some panels, and then you can again place them manually. So you need to do it manually. It is not going to be done automatically. Let me just showcase you that as well. Okay, just a moment. Okay, and you can see that if I use tab key on my keyboard, I can delete one particular panel, right? Similarly, I'll be deleting on this side as well one panel of mine. Then I can select CM onto my keyboard to fix one panel, and you can create one particular panel at over here. Now you can see that particular panel which was broken from all the edges, now it is not broken, it is into one. So you can do that at any particular location. You find that this panel is not fixing properly, or it is showing some gaps, it is having some problem into setting up. So you can just delete that one using tab key, and once you delete that particular component of your, then you can again place it another on top of it manually, but you need to do it. Okay. Just a moment. I think I have something. Okay. I think we have answered to all the questions. If you have anything else, we are happy to answer. But if you don't have any doubt, we can also end this session. Okay, no worries, Virmani. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all. We are going to end this session. Thank you very much for joining. Let me just Isaac, yes, you have something to ask. Okay, we are having some questions. How to unitize curtain wall? Sorry, I didn't get how to unitized. Ashok, if you can just elaborate what you are asking for, because I'm not getting what you are asking. Okay. No response then. Thank you everyone. I'm just going to end the session. Thank you very much.